Hello everyone, my name is Don Orban. What I'm about to present to you is my successful customer-centered program, which is part of my executive portfolio as a prerequisite for the position of Chief Customer Officer with your firm. Next slide, please. As you know, customers are the heartbeat of your company. There are certain contact points when a customer comes into the office or when you're having contact with them outside of the office. We call these contact points of contact. And these can occur in sales interviews, during the application process, network contact, payments made in the agency, policy changes and additions, claims, policy service and questions, transfers into our business area, and community functions. These are all opportunities to interact and build trust with the customer. Next slide, please. Developing a customer service culture involves the following activities. Always be polite, professional, and helpful. Always be patient and understanding of the customer's requests. Always try to answer their questions with accurate information. Ask someone who knows the answer if you're not sure before responding. Always ask the customer if there's anything else you can do for them. When the opportunity arises, ask for more business when you identified a new need. Respect the customer and maintain a positive attitude at all times. Next slide, please. How important is customer retention? Let's revisit this. Next slide, please. I've constructed a chart that shows customer retention levels anywhere from 55% to 95%. And these are a reflection of how long do your customers stay on your book of business for a 5-year period. I'm also going to use a dollar figure of $15,000, which would be a typical agency bonus paid by a company on a $750,000 book of business. And next, on the next chart, I'm going to be showing the corresponding bonus that would be paid each respective with these customer retention levels. At 55% customer retention, you could expect to see a bonus of $6,000. If your customer retention increases to 65%, you're looking at a $9,000 bonus. If the customer retention increases to 75%, it increases to $10,500 on your bonus. All the way up to 95%, or it jumps to $13,500. And if you are over 95%, you get 100% of that bonus, which is $15,000. Next slide, please. How do we perfect customer satisfaction and loyalty? This is achieved by implementing a customer-centered program that has well-balanced training, mentoring, and feedback activities involving the entire agency workforce. Next slide, please. Together, I put together a customer service training periodic training table. On the right is a chart that indicates how many times per month each one of these activities is going to happen. The first activity is routine agency training. This is an ongoing process and it happens all 12 months of the year. The second item is corporate office training, where we send somebody to the corporate offices for field training at the corporate office level. The third activity is monitoring phone calls. This happens during the telemarketing process and also during interaction with customer service representative and the customers calling in. The next activity is role playing. We conduct role playing activities on an ongoing basis with the agency force. We also have a mentoring program. Again, this is an ongoing program, happens all 12 months of the year. Once in a while, we have customer conferences where we send our employees to about twice a year to go to conferences outside the office. We conduct agency meetings to discuss customer activities, interaction, and lessons learned. And last, we have an employee rotation program where everybody gets a turn doing different roles in the agency, and this occurs about twice a year. I've included a note that just explains this chart a little bit further, shows a corresponding item number, and the values based on how many times a year that these actual activities are going to occur. Next slide, please. Recently, I conducted a self-assessment audit on the agency, and the audit was conducted on 7 key categories that were directly involving customer service activities. A well-balanced agency customer-centered program is the secret to sustained growth and high customer retention. How did we do? Next slide, please. You will notice that on this graph that there are numbers that are in dark green, which represents perfect score. Those are the top numbers that you could possibly score in each category. The ones that are in yellow are the company recommended minimum levels for a healthy agency. And as you can see, the red scores are what we actually achieved during the audit. And in every category, we were at or above the level set by the company. And in some cases, we actually hit positive perfect scores. Next slide, please. I've also created a hypothetical organizational chart that shows that the Chief Customer Officer is in the center of the organization. He reports directly to the agency manager or agency principal or owner. Underneath him are 4 main categories of customer service representatives, of claims representatives, telemarketing manager, and agency sales force. The customer interaction activities occur amongst all of these groups on an ongoing basis. Next slide, please. Things to remember. It's all about the customer. Customers represent income to the agency. Customers who have multiple lines of business represent more income to the agency. Customers who have referrals represent more business for the agency because of who they bring in. Customers with small businesses have assets and can buy more protection. Agency growth represents qualification for bonuses. Careful field underwriting helps us locate quality customers and filter out bad risks. Lower loss ratios mean that more profit is going to be there available for the agency and the company. In addition, we need to realize that and remember that the longer we keep the customer, the deeper the relationship becomes. The longer we keep them, the more trust and loyalty we can build in them. The longer we keep them, the more referrals we can get. The longer we keep them, the harder it will be for them to change. The longer we keep them, they will not be inclined to shop our rates. Customer retention is tied directly to company bonuses. Customers with good credit scores and favorable loss history lead to less required customer maintenance, more profitable business, and higher quality referrals. Developing a customer service culture involves the following activities. We need to always be polite and professional and helpful. Always be patient in understanding the customer's request. Always try to remember their questions and answer their information accurately. If you don't know the answer, ask somebody who does know before you respond. Always ask the customer if there's anything else you can do for them. When the opportunity arises, ask them for more business when you've identified a new need. Respect the customer and maintain a positive attitude at all times. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.